Come talk to me. I love the way you're on to me. Looking at you, looking like you're wondering if we're here for the same reason. And now that you wanna lay in the sun, hitting love drums, sticking like honey. Yeah, I bet you're here for some fun with that someone, feeling that something. If you're looking for a good time, honey, I'm right here. If you're looking for the good life, good vibes, honey, I'm right here. And I'm waiting for you.
Good morning. We're here for a second time today. We are here for a second time. Joy has not gone back to sleep. And I got a few things to say before I either take a nap or figure out what I want to do for the rest of the day. But I'm not trying to be here too long, so we're gonna try to get through this as quickly as possible. But good morning, everybody. Welcome to Joy is Real. It is 9:02 a.m. here in Las Vegas. So that means it's in the afternoon over there on the East Coast. All right. It is 12:02 p.m. in the afternoon over there. So good afternoon, Atlanta, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. That also means it is 11:02 a.m. in my hometown of Las Vegas. Lord, you know I'm tripping. In my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. Good morning, family. Good morning. All right, y'all. So listen. I got a little bit to say, I caught a live this morning and it kind of like sparked some interest, in my mind. I said, okay, that was quite interesting, and maybe my uh perspective, 2 cents about it, or what have you, would be a good thing to present to the folk. Because what I have noticed in this space, not the Latruth saga space, but in the space that I run around at night, where us melanated folk hang out and have conversation and things of that nature. In that particular space, what I have noticed is the men are having the conversation about leadership a lot. Like a lot. They want us Black women to hear them roar for sure. They are asking for submissiveness and they are wanting leadership. And it's really quite baffling at some of the conversations that I've heard, because most of the men in these spaces are, around my age or possibly even older. Like these ain't, these ain't young men. I'm gonna say a good 35 and up. Nobody's really young. That I've seen or heard or what have you. Pretty much everybody is of what I would think a seasoned age. So when I hear that these men are having trouble with figuring out leadership and having conversations with women about being submissive and all that, being new to the space, I'm like, really? 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 So I have really sat back most of my time wandering around the space, really kind of quiet in some sorts. I've gotten on panels here or there and maybe express some things here or there, but pretty much been quiet. But today, Joy got a little something to say. All right. Let's see who we have with us before we get into everything. Miss Lena Love is here. She says, "Hi, Miss Joy." Hi, Miss Lena. The cynical one is here. She says, "Hello, Joy." All right. So we have two people in the building that are down here in the chat. We got 5 folks watching. If you guys could please hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. I would love you even more if you were to share the live for sure. So this morning, I caught DJ Hemp DJ Hamp's show. I believe it's called This Must Be Risky or This Might Be Risky. One of the other. This must be risky or this might be risky. Now, this was the first time I believe that I was actually quite active in the chat. When I usually watch is kind of from the clouds because folks get a little wild in my neck of the woods. Oh gosh, honey. I mean, it gets kind of crazy. So Joy kind of tries to stay out the way. And that one is here. She says, "Hi, Joy and Chat. Good afternoon, my love. Glad to see you." Joy just really kind of talking about some stuff that she caught during a live this morning. And, I just wanted to give my opinion about leadership and accountability, just from my perspective. I'm not quite sure of the age range of the ladies that were on the panel this morning. But as I told y'all, even though that Joy is 47, there's a 90-year-old woman inside of me. So, with that being said, I be feeling like I'm older than most. I have a lot of discernment within me, and I was and still am a person that listens to those that have come before, so like conversations with elders, even through my youth, were really sat down and paid attention to. Like, I did not take that for granted. When an elder was speaking, I always got the goosies, and that always made me sit down and listen. Now, granted, hey, some advice I did not take because I was young and dumb and silly, like probably half of us. I ain't gonna say most, because what I've learned also in this space, that saying most and all is triggering. and we get so caught up on words and things that don't even matter, you know. So I'm not going to say most. So I'm going to say half. Half of us, you know, probably don't get it right, you know, when we are younger. But even now, like when I have conversations, I gravitate to those that are older than me because they be knowing. They really be knowing, you know. I don't know why this day and time that, and maybe it's not just this day and time, because maybe even when I was younger, maybe older folks were looked at as, oh, you old fart, ain't nobody thinking about you, paying you no attention. Maybe that did happen in my era growing up. I don't remember that so much, but I definitely know that today young people have a problem listening to the elders, even my own children. I have such a hard time with them understanding, hey, what's the problem here? Like, I'm giving you more than I was given. You guys have more tools available. However, you know, the comprehension level is so off. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. Leadership was the topic of discussion, and what I gathered was like they were trying to figure out what would be considered a good leader, what would be considered a bad leader, what would be considered a good follower or a bad follower. And I just believe that we are having the wrong conversations, y'all. That I believe that's mainly what our folks problems lie most of the time, is that we are having the wrong conversations. We are still caught up so much on small things that we're never going to tackle the real problems at hand because we too busy fussing about silly stuff. You know, like who is this or who is not, or you know, it's just too many things that are getting in the way of solving the real issue with the Black community. We got some more folks in here. Alyssa, she says, hey, beautiful Miss Joy. Hey, Miss Williamson, how are you today? Glad to see you. I'm just conversating this morning about a topic of discussion that I caught during a live, and it kind of like sparked some interest in my brain that I feel like uh, my perspective is needed because you know I just think we just having the wrong conversations. You know, I've been running around in this space now for 9 months. Yeah, about 9 months. And I promise you, most of the platforms are speaking about the same things on repeat constantly. And then nothing is coming of it other than folks speaking crazy toward one another, and probably relationships being severed because it's a lot of negative talk, crazy talk, and no solution. And no solution. But the conversation that I caught today, I see why. Because we are talking about the wrong things. We're caught up on the wrong things. I'm 47 years old. 47. I have 4 children. I have never been asked about body count until I came into this space. Why folks over 40, let's go even lower, let's say even over 30. Why folks over 30 are so enamored with body count is insane. That conversation is definitely futile. It is silly and insane for real. Never been asked that until I came into this space. And these folks know I'm a married woman. I'm a married woman. So even what does my body count even matter anyway? Because I'm married. So meaning what you having that information, what does that give you? Nothing. It doesn't give you anything other than you being nosy about who I may have laid down with or who I may not have laid down with. But these grown folk, and usually it's the men, the women ain't talking about no body count. The women are saying exactly what I'm saying. Why does that matter? And why are y'all talking about that? Y'all too doggone grown to be worried about body count. If the woman ain't a virgin, then you know somebody else done been there before, right? The number does not matter. The number does not matter. You know that the person has had a past, and that's all you should know. That's all you should know. The number does not matter. A number does not discount how great of a mother a woman can be, a teacher, a nurturer, a helpmate. No, it does. The number does not matter. It does not matter. And like I've told the men in this space when the conversation comes up, you never gonna get an honest answer, no way. So what the hell is you asking for? You're not gonna be able to tell once you tried either, no matter what you think. If a woman has a body count of 2 or 200, more than likely you ain't gonna know. More than likely you ain't gonna know. Again, futile conversations. Futile conversations. Who else do we have in here? Dee Dee Brockington is here. Hello, everyone, she says. Latte World is here. She says, hey, everyone. It's always glad to see you, darling.
Tonight, it's about me and you. I ain't stressing, recollecting, I ain't acting a fool. I'ma dance with you till the sun come over the roof. And if the world fall, I'm good because I know I got you. Let's go dance and let's go jump in the pool. Let's go laugh until we cry, we ain't got nothing to prove. I push the button on the Benz and it move. 2 kids enjoying the view. Always been just us two, me and you.
La 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 la, Chase were a. La 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 la, Chase were a. Hey, y'all go follow Latte if y'all have not already. That one is speaking. But yeah, that's another conversation that I just get so tickled pink when I hear these grown men talk about body count. And even in the conversation this morning, a woman asked, well, how many is too many? And then they was trying to come up with the math. Well, if she's single and possibly, if she lost her virginity at maybe 17, 18, if maybe one per year is acceptable, then if she 35 and carried the two and subtracted this and that, they trying to figure out a number. It is so silly. So silly. And then still at the end of the conversation, did we figure out where the problem is with leadership and accountability? Heck no. Because then they start talking about hoes. And that, one man on the panel got real excited when that word hoe started being used. Oh my goodness. He started sitting up straight up. He like, oh my goodness, I get to use a derogatory term for women. This is really where I like to be at. It was getting real silly. But yeah, I mean, some of it was getting real silly. The conversation did spark something, but there was just this one person on the panel that was kind of like overtaking everything with his point of view. And his point of view was actually kind of like very immature. You can definitely tell that more than like I don't know. Let me not give my opinion. Let me be quiet. Because I ain't trying to be harsh, but like I said, Joy does have a discernment about her. And men are my kind of bee's knees. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna even lie to you about that. My grandmother raised me in a way to where I am very, I ain't gonna even use the word submissive because maybe that's not the term, but I definitely cater to men. I cater to men. And so in my mind, I believe that I allow a men to be in their rightful place as the head leaders. That's just, how I feel, or what have you. And I like it that way, even with my sons to a certain extent. Now that they are grown men, when they are speaking, I hold back and allow them to speak. And then, if I have anything to offer, then I come in. But wow, he probably don't have a woman. I don't know if the guy has a woman or not. If he does, baby, I tip my hat off to her. I definitely tip my hat off to her because I can definitely tell he's he's a special kind of person. Any man that gets happy about using derogatory terms when referencing a woman is always a little off-putting to me. When men use the B word or hoe, just in general conversation, and this guy was just doing it. So how are we equating hoes? And we don't feel bad about we don't talk bad about hoes. Like, I'm serious. Like, when that term was being used, baby, you could see the excitement in this person. You could see the excitement, and it was quite hilarious. It was quite hilarious because I'm like, this old FOOL right here. And you could, baby, when I tell you, you couldn't tell him that he wasn't the smartest, flyest person in the room. You couldn't tell him that. You couldn't tell him that. I bet he thought that I bet you he thinks that he is a good leader, because he was definitely trying to discount anybody else in the room having a clue even about what leadership is. He says he knows what a leader is, but absolutely displaying uh the what a leader definitely is not, because a leader can read the room. A leader definitely adjust. Baby, he did not read that room or make any adjustments at all. At all. Baby, he got more obtuse throughout the panel discussion. It was quite funny. That tells me he doesn't have respect for women. That's true. When men use those terms loosely, they generally don't have respect for women. I would not approve a man that spoke that way in no manner, shape, or form. I wouldn't care what his accolades are, how much money he got in the bank, how fly he think he is, how well his verbiage is, or any of that. Because even with all those possible pluses, that big minus that stands out is that your ass is disrespectful. Because you can use another term other than hoe. You can use another term other than the B word when describing women. Even when you're describing women that have a body count, or what you may consider as being a hoe or whatever. You don't have to use those words. You know what I'm saying? What normally when I describe women that have a high body count, I just use the word promiscuous. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to use hoe or whore or slut or anything like that. I just use the word promiscuous. Now, granted, when you hear that word, sometimes people may look at that as a negative word, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's the definition of promiscuity, is when you are probably sleeping with one person, another person, another person, another. You know what I'm saying? You just don't have to use those bad terms. And when I see folks get excited about using it, it lets me know so much about them. It lets me know so much about them. And these men in these spaces, they use those words so loosely. So loosely. I be looking at these black men like, well, this is why y'all having trouble with leading most of us. Look how y'all think about us. Look how y'all really only get excited about sexual talk when it comes to ladies. That's when y'all mostly get really excited. But when it comes down to the real deal, Holyfield, knowing the inside of a black woman, black men ain't really trying to really get down for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, another part of the conversation today was, are black women accountable for their part in our culture being so freaking wacky dacky? And what I said was, I don't even think the conversation is being had. I don't think that it's not that we don't take accountability. I just don't think the conversation is being had. Just sit back and think about how many real deal conversations are you having with your partner? And I mean seriously. serious conversations. I don't think, and I mean having the conversations when folks are both level-headed, when nobody is hot with one another. I don't think the conversation is being had. Because I have no problem taking accountability for anything, but I am at a seasoned age. I'm 47. What I'm okay with today may be not what I was okay with when I was 20 or 30 or 35, maybe not even 40, because we change all the time. However, I do know at 47, I am very comfortable with taking accountability for whatever. It doesn't matter. I've had failed relationships. I have baby daddies. I've vetted wrong. I've made some missteps with parenting. I've made some missteps with life. But I don't think the conversation is really being had. Now, I did hear one lady said that the way that she speaks with her girlfriends and the way that she speaks with maybe her partner may be different. Because usually 9 times out of 10, when men and women are conversating about issues, it's usually when they're having a personal issue within their relationship. And folks be mad at one another. So it's kind of hard to have a conversation when right now you want to tear each other head off. It's all about what your intent is in relationship. Is your intent to come out of the conversation with a resolution, or is the intent to just be right? That's why a lot of relationships come to an end, because folks just really want to be right. It's really not a resolution that they looking for. they just looking for the win. Latte World says, what if you deal with a woman who's had serial trauma? What if you deal with a woman who has serial trauma? Pray. Pray. If you have chosen to deal with a person that has serious trauma, you better be praying, and you better be able to handle what comes with being in relationship with that person. Because if you're not suited to deal with a person that has serial trauma, then the relationship ain't gonna work. Go find your match. Folks be trying to put the wrong puzzle pieces together. Everybody don't fit. What I got in my baggage, you may not be able to deal with. So I got to go find the person that's able to deal with my baggage. That one says, absolutely, Joy. He will definitely read the room. Yes, a good leader reads the room, baby. A good leader reads the room. He wasn't reading nothing. He wanted to stand out, be the center of attention, all eyes on him. And I even believe that he had on sunglasses. I believe. And usually, when you are having conversations with people and you are wearing sunglasses, that's a tell as well. That shows that you're really not as comfortable as you really are giving, because he had an air about himself. He definitely did. He wants to give confident, but I seen not so much. Not so much. What I seen was a prick, really. That's what I gathered at the end of the day. Because he was the main person that was speaking. Now, granted, maybe the host doesn't speak as much as I'm guessing, because I don't have panels. So I'm over here by myself. But these other platforms that run a panel form, maybe the host doesn't speak that much. They kind of navigate the conversation, because that's what I seen Mr. Hamp doing. He kind of was kind of navigating the conversation. But this gentleman, was just he wanted to stand out. He overtook the conversation. He really did. He just overtook the situation. Sexual trauma. Oh, what if you deal with a woman who's had sexual trauma? Okay, so still pray. And you still have to be suited for a woman that has those particular issues. It's still really the scenario doesn't change. You have to be suited for that person. If you are entering in, that's why you have to vet and have good, real deal conversations about the person you are dating or courting, or whatever you want to call it. Have those conversations. Hey, are you built to be with a person that has had A, sexual trauma, B, physical trauma, C, mental trauma, D, whatever kind of trauma, XYZ, whatever. Whatever. Are you that type of person? And if you are not, then I would say don't deal with somebody who has that kind of trauma. That is why a lot of folks trauma bond, because they have familiarity there. But that doesn't mean that you can necessarily deal with the consequences of what that brings in a person's life. Everybody ain't suited for everybody. Young Riaz says, Joy, hey, all right. That one says, Joy said, not so much. Yes. But the conversation was a good conversation that sparked a lot of things, as far as like in my mind in the chat. But it was definitely one-sided coming from one panelist. He just did not want to hear the opinion of others. He was discounting folks left and right. He even threw his hand up. You know how when women throw their hand up like, that don't mean nothing. He threw his hand up like that. I said, ooh, that's a feminine trait right there. You didn't threw your hand up like that person don't mean nothing. I mean, ooh, Jesus, have mercy and have mercy. I tell you, some of the men in these spaces are funny. They be thinking they have it all together and be showing that they ain't got nothing together. Nothing. It be all a facade. And real women, like Joy. Joy is a real woman. Joy, a real woman, baby. I can see behind sunglasses. I can see behind big words. I can see behind big bank accounts. I can see behind suits. I can see behind a lot of things that men try to cover themselves to show them in a way that they may not be. I can see it because you know what? Y'all open y'all mouth. Y'all open y'all mouth, and that's where you cannot hide. I don't care what kind of designer clothes you got on, what kind of bank account you got, what kind of job you got, what kind of verbiage you got. When you open your mouth and have a conversation, it tells the tale. It tells the tale. I be cracking up at most of these men. I really do. They are funny. They are funny. You can tell the ones that are fraudulent for sure. You got content creators using wrenches as a way to I'm gonna say rein people in, maybe. I don't know. I really can't think of the term I really want to use, but I'm telling you, these wrenches are used as tools in these spaces, and I think that is quite funny too. I'm like, y'all is crazy, even about these wrenches. It's funny, y'all. It's funny. But I was going to like bring the live up and kind of like analyze it a little bit more, but I did not reach out to Mr. Hamp to see if that would be okay, because I do not want to get no copyright strike. I don't want nobody mad at Joy. Folks be doing some funny things out here in these YouTube streets, and I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers, but maybe I'll reach out to him later this afternoon, and I'll probably come live again to actually like analyze the live in a little bit more depth. But yeah, I just, I believe we're having the wrong conversations, y'all. We arguing about religion, we're arguing about body counts, we're arguing about leadership, when none of that is the problem. None of it. None of it. You know where our problem is? Our problem is love. Our problem is love. We ain't loving one another. We ain't loving one another. That's our problem. When we can start loving one another, then we can fix everything. We still calling each other hoes, bitches, bitch ass niggas, simps, mammies. We still doing that in 2025. In 2025, we're still doing that. So, of course, there's going to be issues with leadership and accountability. Because I tell you what, even though that I cater to men and my general position is to allow a man to lead, as soon as you show me you disrespectful, you are no longer leading me any damn where. You are no longer leading me any damn where. Call me a bitch or a whore, or even if I hear you call another woman a bitch or a whore, or me hear you use the term, you can't lead me nowhere. Why you say that, Joy? Because you don't even know how to talk right. So where are you leading? Where are you trying to lead me to if you don't know how to talk right? Sir, go get you some good diction, some respect, and then we'll talk about leadership. But you sure can't expect leadership on one hand and call a woman a bitch in the other. The two don't go together. The two don't go together. The two don't go together. Point blank, period. No man using words like that can lead me nowhere. Or can we have a conversation about accountability? Why? Because you're not respectful. So why am I having a conversation with you about accountability for? You don't even respect me. So the conversation is futile. Get out of here. Men, women don't have a problem with y'all leading as long as you lead properly. You have to lead properly. There is a way to lead. They were talking about how can a woman who was raised in a single family home, with the mother, the father is gone, how she could recognize what a good leader is or isn't. They were saying that that there's no way that a woman would be able to tell what a good leader is or isn't if a man was not in the household. And I say, what? That's crazy and insane. Leadership shows up in other ways other than in an intimate relationship between a man and a woman. You have leadership in schools, you have leaderships in your jobs, you have leaderships just in general in life, period. Police officers are leaders, presidents, senators. We see leaders in other ways other than in the home. Women, we don't have to be raised by a man to know what a good leader is or is not. For sure. That I didn't understand that. I was like, really? What do you mean? I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, that was just my take on this morning's live. Over there at this might be risky. I think it's this might. Let me check, y'all. I want to say is this might be risky. Oh, I didn't even go live on Instagram. Lord. See, going live on Instagram is a whole different setup than the StreamYard, y'all. Let's see here. Was it this might be risky? Yes, this might be risky. Yeah, let me put his let me pause that. Okay. I'm going to put his page's information in the chat just in case you guys may want to follow if you are not already. All right, did it? Yeah, all right. But yeah, we're coming up on an hour. I didn't really want to be here that long. I was hoping a few more people came over here and kind of conversated with me to actually keep the conversation going, but it doesn't seem like we're going to go any further. But that is my take. You know, I believe we are having the wrong conversations. We are caught up on the wrong stuff. We got to get to the good, and the good is love. We need to start talking about loving one another and quit discounting each other so fast. You know what I'm saying? And really get to solving the real issues of our folk. We damaged. We trauma filled. You know what I'm saying? We have we are moving from a deficit. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to get back together, and how we do that is by having conversations of togetherness and quit having conversations that divide us, okay? Because we've had enough of that. And it don't do nothing but end up being an argument. And then folks, you know, be feeling away, and nothing gets resolved. Nothing, and nothing. All right. So I'm going to end it here. I thank you guys for coming over and letting me rant a little bit. We will revisit this conversation for sure. I'm going to reach out to Mr. Hemp to see if he is okay with me reviewing that particular video like on a live stream without any problem, because I ain't, like I said, I ain't trying to ruffle no feathers or get in no trouble with the U and the tube. Okay, so y'all enjoy your night, enjoy your day, enjoy every moment that comes your way. You know why? It's because joy is real. Until next time, see you soon.
Baby, I'm a hard mess. Your heart is like a fortress. But baby, I'm still curious about you. Baby, I'm a hard mess. You play me like you're playing chess. Guess you are oblivious